Hello, everybody, and welcome to problem 18-11. So this is a long-term contract with an overall loss. So here we have Torville Construction Company contracted to build an office building for the Gumbel Corporation for a total contract price of $1.9 million. On July 1st, Torville estimated it would take between 2 to 3 years to complete the building. On December 31st, the building was deemed substantially completed. The following are accumulated contract costs incurred, estimated cost to complete the contract, and then accumulated billings to date. So we're going to kind of ignore the billings to Gumbel. We're not really as concerned about that as we are with revenue recognition. So the first thing we're going to do here for 2020 is that the contract cost to date is $300,000. And if you'll notice here in this problem, it's worded differently than this. This was during the year, so we had to actually add these in to get the date, cost to date. Here, we don't have to do that. So we've got here contract costs. Basically, to date is $300,000. This is the first year. Estimated to complete. The costs to complete is $1.2 million. So my total contract cost is going to be $1.5 million. So as we're going through and doing this, we say to ourselves like, okay, how much profit do we recognize using the percentage of completion method? And again, well, just by looking at this, we're at about 20% through, so we should be recognizing about 20% of the gross profit, but let's see how this plays out. So here my contract price is 1.9 million. And so then over here, my total contract cost is 1.5. Total gross profit is going to be 400,000. So my percentage that I'm done as of today. So here, my percent complete is going to be my contract cost to date. Of 300,000, dividing this by my total contract cost of 1.5 million. When I divide these two here, I get 20%. So the amount of profit that I'm going to be going through and recognizing is going to be basically here, it's going to be 20%. So here, I multiply this through prior gross profit. This is the first year, so this is going to be 0. So 2020 gross profit under percentage of completion. Okay, so in 2021, our contract costs to date are 1.2 million. And our estimated to complete is 800,000. Okay, so our total contract cost is going to be $2 million. Now we have a problem. The problem is that our contract price has not changed. And I'll talk about this a little bit more during our classroom lectures. But what's really important to remember is that if you're on a construction, if you're doing a construction job, it's kind of like the example, like if you're a general contractor, when you sign the contract with a person, you go to a house, you say, okay, I'm going to build you this second story addition. If they say, now I want a swimming pool, that's going to be a different price, right? So you have to remind yourself that it's very, very important to be mindful of contracts if they get out of control. Okay, so my total contract cost is, my total contract price is 1.9 million. My total contract cost is 2 million. So I have a total loss on the contract. My total loss on the contract is going to be $100,000. Now, at this point in time, what I have to go through and do is say I've got a problem. Okay, so I'm going to kind of ignore this part of this up here because the percentage of completion kind of goes out the window. I have to recognize this loss immediately. The challenge I have though here is that my total loss on my contract is $100,000. So that's what I need to be showing on my books. But previously, I have a gross profit to date, basically gross profit from 2020. And let me just put this from here. So I recognize profit previously of 80,000. So what I need to do is my total loss on contract, or my 2020 loss, or my 2021 loss, is going to be negative 180,000. Let me kind of explain it, why this is. So as of 2020, my gross profit was 180. So as of 2021, I'm recording this loss here as 180. The reason why I have to go through and do it this way is that my total contract loss is at $100,000. And so that's what this needs to go through and be here. Okay, that's my total loss on my contract. Let's go over here to 2022. So my total contract costs to date are going to be 2.1 million. Okay, my cost estimate to complete is 0. So my total contract costs are going to be 2.1 million. So I'm kind of in the same situation here. My contract price is at 1.9 million. My total contract costs are at 2.1 million. So my total loss on contract is now at $200,000. So what I have to do here is my loss on my contract over here is 200,000. I recognize profit of 80, but then I had a loss over here of basically of 180. So the amount of the loss I'm going to have for 2022 is going to be $100,000. Okay. How do I know that this works? Well, the way I know that this works is that my total contract loss, right? So my total loss as of 2022 is that I have over here, I recognize gross profit in 2020 of 80. I then had a loss of 180 over here on basically 2021. In 2022, I'm recognizing a loss of $100,000. So over here, my total loss on this is basically going to be $200,000. So my whole loss here of $200,000 is going to be right here, which matches my total loss on my contract over here of $200,000. So that is percentage of completion. So what's very important to remind ourselves is that if you have a prior amount that was recognized as a profit, you may need to go through and recognize a greater loss because you took this profit previously. Because at the end of the day, when you're in this type of situation, the total loss has to equal what your basically what your cost estimates are less your contract price. So that is percentage of completion. What's different about completed contract method? Well, under the completed contract method, we know that we're going to have to be at a total loss of 200,000 because both of them are the same. It's a matter of timing differences. So under completed contract for 2020, and remember with completed contract, I recognize no gain or loss until this is done up. So basically no revenue. In 2021 though, I have to recognize a loss under the completed contract method. I recognize all losses immediately when they happen. So my loss under the completed contract method is going to be up here My contract price was 1.9 million. My total contract cost was 2 million. So my loss on my contract is $100,000. So in 2021, I'm going to recognize this loss immediately of $100,000. Now, why is it not 180? Well, it's not 180 because we recognize no revenue in 2020. Rather, we're recognizing this $100,000 now. Similarly, in 2022, my contract price is still the same, but my total contract cost is now going to be over here at 2.1 million. Oh. So over here, so my total loss on my contract is 200,000. Now, I've already recognized, so my 2021 loss was 100,000. So my loss for 2022 under completed contract is going to be $100,000. Okay, so when I add these three results up, the total loss is $200,000. And this is kind of a reminder to ourselves, under both completed contract method as well as the percentage of completion, the total amount of the gain or loss that we go through and recognize is going to be the same. The only difference is in terms of timing. And even if we go back over here to what we were looking at in exercise 18-9, right? The total amount of the loss, or excuse me, the whole amount of the gross profit in percentage of completion and completed contract is going to be exactly the same. It's a timing difference. Same thing over here in terms of completed contract. Here you had 1.1 million, 1.1 million, same thing. And then over here, when we're looking at problem 1811, you still have a loss of 200,000. It's just the difference is because I did recognize some profit, these 2 years look a little bit different. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great one.